Please rise. Please be seated. Good evening, class of 2016, marshals, parents, and guests. Welcome to the first ever commencement ceremony for Thales Academy. I'd like to gratefully welcome the stakeholders in education, our chairman of the board and founder, Mr. Robert Letty, and our director of academics, Dr. Timothy Hall. Please also recognize and warmly welcome the pillars of this academy, the faculty of Thales Academy, Rolesville. My name is Melissa Edwards, and I'm the administrator of this exceptional academy. For most people, today is like any other. The sun rises, the winds blow, it's hot, sometimes it rains, doesn't rain. You wake up, you laugh, you cry, you dance. Today, Chronos time is, as it has been since the beginning, and will be, as it is until things come to an end. Today is like any other to most. But at Thales, today is like no other. Today is fresh and new and like never before. Today is a Kairos moment of opportunity that has come and will pass quickly. Today is a passage from one epoch to another. Today is a gift from God. Today is a graduation, a Thales first, a completion, an inauguration. Today we are thankful for Michael, James, and Evan, who have met the challenge and kept the faith to the commitments of their studies. Now they have a new Kairos before them. We are thankful for the success of their journey. We are thankful for their focus and direction, their strength and their endurance. They have mastered the knowledge and understanding imparted to them by their teachers and mentors. Today we are also thankful for tomorrow. This graduation opens another door to another time. As they have led in the past, we look forward to them leading in the future. With focus and clarity, courage and purpose, we look forward to them stepping toward that purpose with integrity and gratitude, taking with them every lesson they have learned during their time at Thales Academy. Now, let us show our patriotism by standing as the Thales Academy Rolesville Chorus sings the national anthem. Please be seated. To set the tone for this evening's event, please welcome to the stage the Class of 2016 Salutatorian, Mr. James Edward Burry III.
Good evening, friends, family, and faculty. It is from the bottom of my heart that I would like to thank all of you for coming out to share this wonderfully bittersweet moment of our lives with us. After today, the three of us will go our separate ways, and then a few weeks later we will all be back together at Chapel Hill. But never again will we enter this lovely campus as Thales students. That's the bitter part. The sweet part is that while this chapter of our lives is behind us, we will always consider Thales to be part of our family. And as you all know, the best part of family is family reunions. So we know we will never be gone too long without paying a visit to get some life advice from Dr. Church, or to spice things up with an existential crisis courtesy of Mr. Herring. I know you all cannot see my actual speech, but I wanted you to know that I titled it, "The Guinea Pigs Graduate from Boot Camp." I will explain that in a minute, but first I want to say thank you to Mrs. Edwards for telling me I can use this time to talk about whatever I want, because I know she will never make that mistake again. Why? Because the secrets are coming out, folks. I know many of you have been watching my classmates and I over the years, wondering how is it possible that a class only has 3 students? And how did they all end up going to the same college? And how did the staff know the curriculum would work since it was their first try? Well, let me tell you, we are not students here. We are not actually people at all. We are guinea pigs. Every day, Michael, Evan, and I wake up, eat some hay, drink some water, and emerge from our home in that mysterious empty room next to Mr. Johnson's. We then grab our school iPads and go learn whatever our teachers have decided to teach that day. Once the school day is over, we go back to that abandoned room and work through our random amount of homework. Throughout this whole process, the Thales staff observes and takes notes on the effectiveness of our curriculum so that it can be changed the very next day in hopes of improvement. To make this process easier, now they've even installed cameras throughout the building like that one there. But my classmates and I are not just normal guinea pigs. We are boot camp guinea pigs. Here at Thales Academy, we strive to abide by the 15 Luddy outcomes, which are virtues that define us as members of Thales Academy. While all 15 are extremely important and have helped my classmates and I become who we are today, I would argue that the most important has been having a strong work ethic. Over the 5 years that the 3 of us have been together at Thales, our teachers have never gone easy on us, Mrs. Judy. They have expected us to always put forth our very best, and I cannot thank them enough for that. I personally came to this school with very little interest in academics, and was only working to get by. I am so grateful that my teachers have inspired me to be more than that. They supported and encouraged me to work as hard as I possibly can to become the best little guinea pig I can be. But now it is time that we begin the next chapter of our lives at Chapel Hill. And before we go, there is one last thing I want to say, especially to all the Thales students here. We are all guinea pigs living in a big guinea pig family, and that is not a bad thing. We should all live our lives as guinea pigs, ready to enter the world knowing that nearly everything around us is experimental. But even through all the fluidity, we can hold on to a few essential truths and skills that Thales Academy has instilled within us. Inspiring passion for learning within others, being supportive members of our community, having a strong work ethic, and thinking critically about all aspects of life. These are essential qualities that the Thales staff displays every single day, no matter the circumstance. As I said earlier, when I came to Thales, I had no intention of applying myself to my schoolwork. That all changed during my first class with Mr. Hartzell. I have had the honor of being his student for most of my time at Thales, and his love for what he teaches and passion for inspiring it within his students has changed every aspect of who I am. He taught me how to use literature to realize who I truly am and who I want to become. I will forever cherish that skill and never stop reading, and I have Mr. Hartzell to thank for that. Another Thales teacher who has always shown these qualities is Ms. Knight. I remember when I was told to write a 4-minute speech for this building's ribbon-cutting ceremony only a few days before it would take place. I enthusiastically accepted the job, but on my way back to class realized that I was in an utter panic, as I had never written a speech like that in so little time. Fighting back tears, I immediately went to my Latin teacher, Ms. Knight. The second she saw how overwhelmed I was, she took me aside and helped me plan out the entire speech while convincing me that I was capable of writing it. After that, I felt confident in myself and was able to write a speech I was proud of, just because she was there to support me when I needed it most. But support is only useful when it has a strong work ethic to ignite. Mrs. Judy, after being in your math class throughout all 4 years of high school, I can honestly say with all of my heart that all the pain, agony, suffering, tears, broken pencils, shattered dreams, sleepless nights, panic attacks, periods of abysmal self-worth, thrown calculators, the miles upon miles of swimming I did to calm down, my one gray hair, the hundreds of holes I almost punched in my wall, and the one I actually did, were all worth it. You have taught me the importance of hard work again and again, and again and again, to the point where it has become a part of me. You have proven to me that it pays off too. I cannot put into words how happy I was to have earned a 4 out of 5 on this year's AP Calculus AB exam, and I am so grateful to have had you to push me to achieve the very best I can. But what good are support and work ethic when you cannot freely use them to develop yourself as a person? I have had the honor of serving Thales Academy as student council president for all 4 years of high school, and having Mr. Rule as my advisor and teacher has truly allowed me to get the most out of that experience. Mr. Rule has allowed me to develop myself as a leader by leaving me to make my mistakes and learn from them on my own, while still providing feedback that has helped improve my skills with his own experience. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Church and Mr. Herring for helping me completely rethink my entire worldview by showing me how to analyze my own beliefs and not take the world at face value. And to Dr. Church, I feel that I need to say, I am so sorry for not going to NC State and becoming your great engineering student, but instead going the route of the finance guy. I will never forget what you taught me and will forever continue to use what I learned in your engineering class to solve problems both in my career and in everyday life. And of course, I would like to thank our wonderful headmistress, Mrs. Edwards, for dedicating herself not only to helping us succeed, but also for genuinely caring about every single Thales Academy student. When filling out my first college application, it occurred to me that I would need to apply early in order to be eligible for a certain scholarship. The problem was that it did not occur to me until the night it was due. That meant I had to write 5 essays and fill out all of my information in one night. In a panic, I told Mrs. Edwards about my situation to ask for guidance. She allowed me to stay in her office for the entire school day while we worked through the application process together. When I got home, I had only one essay left to finish. Mrs. Edwards stayed up until midnight, helping me edit my last essay in a shared Google document, and only because of that was I able to finish on time. I could tell stories about things she has done for us like that all day if given the time, and I absolutely cannot express in words how grateful I am to have had her watching over me and helping me to succeed during these last 4 years. And lastly, I would like to thank my family for pushing me to succeed throughout these last 18 years. Even after I got in that wreck and raised our insurance, and then that other wreck that raised our insurance, and then that third wreck that skyrocketed our insurance, you have always been there for me to catch me when I fall and lift me back up again. I will never be able to truly thank you enough for giving so much to allow me to become who I am today. When I was writing this speech, This section started out just saying, add in heartfelt stuff about family. But even with the amazing education I have been privileged to receive at Thales Academy, I still have not been able to find words that can truly express how much gratitude and love I have in my heart for you. So for now, I will use those of English novelist Dorothy Gladys Smith, who defined family as that dear octopus from whose tentacles we never quite escape, nor in our inmost hearts ever quite wish to. Thank you for being the very best octopus I could have ever asked for. So back to you students. No one has ever lived your life before. You are going to be the first to make your choices, the first to have your experiences, and the first to gain your knowledge. The world we live in is always changing, and we will constantly be having to adapt and learn. But no matter what, we will always have our guinea pig family at Thales to support us through it all. Thank you.
Well done, James. Now to present the senior awards, please welcome esteemed faculty member, Mr. Jeremy Hartzell.
Okay. One of the great pleasures of being a part of the Thales family is creating tradition, lighting torches, not just running with them. And tonight, our first graduating class will help to establish yet another new Thales tradition. They will be the first to receive the Thales of Miletus First Principal Award, and what is certain to be a long line of recipients. Thales of Miletus, for whom our school is named, and who is widely regarded as the father of philosophy, held the belief that the primary source, or first principle, of all things was water. He believed that water was the substance or stuff of which everything was composed. The Greeks of the pre-Socratic world believed in the okeanos, the oceans being the river source of all creation. Water flowed through the lands. Water nourished the crops. Water quenched thirst and replenished strength. Water provided, water sustained. We've all known the fun fact from the 5th grade that 60% of the human body is made up of water. We are comprised of that which Thales believed was the first principle of all things, that substance in which turn sustains and nourishes us, the epitome of the self-reliant individual, one of our school's lauded outcomes. The student body of Thales Academy is nourished and sustained by the top 15 outcomes of a Thales student. The outcomes are like water. They are an essential component of the Thales vision. They are the stuff of which the character of our students is comprised. And the recipient of the Thales of Miletus First Principal Award understands that all 15 outcomes are necessary components of the complete Thales graduate. And the recipients of tonight's award will nourish, replenish, and sustain their communities. You will be water. They will be the substance of tomorrow. And I don't know about you, but this helps me to rest easy at night. Because a school is only as good as the students who walk its halls. So tonight, if you would permit me a moment, I want to say thank you and offer my gratitude to them. So thank you, Evan. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, James. Thank you for being such amazing students, and thank you for being such gracious, patient, humorous, and honorable young men. And thank you for challenging me to be a better teacher. And thank you for being such an essential part of the place I love to come to work at every day. And thank you for letting me go home at the end of the day and be able to tell my own family stories about you. So much so that you have become role models of academic enthusiasm and good character around my dinner table. My son Henry, a first grader, knows each of you by name and reputation. When I started teaching Evan, Michael, and James, they were in the 7th grade. I was their homeroom, literature, and history teacher. And since then, I've coached them in Quiz Bowl and Brain Game. I've taught all three of them in creative writing and multiple humanities sources. And I have driven them on way too many field trips. I have laughed at your jokes, and I've cheered at your accomplishments, and I've watched you bounce back from failure. And I have known you for nearly as long as I have known my own child. And when I started teaching them, I had no idea we'd be in each other's lives for this long. And I had 0 gray hairs. Now, I'm not saying that they are the cause of my graying temples, but there is clearly a correlation. Though I suppose they have put up with me as much as I've put up with them. They've written and performed skits and rap battles. They've posed for silly photoshopped newsletter pictures and participated in classroom participations. And they have listened to my too often and too many sentimental and gushing lectures about the power of literature. And they've written original works of fiction and poetry. They've given oral reports, and they've analyzed primary sources. You get it, the list goes on. And that's just for my classes. I speak tonight, of course, only from my own experience, but I'm certain you could grab any one of their teachers or any one of their classmates, and they would echo the sentiments that I share with you tonight, if not one-up me. Whether they tell you about the participation in JCL, NHS, LIT, student council, band, soccer, or the challenges of AP Calculus and their senior thesis. In the presenting of the Thales of Miletus First Principal Award, this evening I would like to briefly share a few words about each of these students. When I first started teaching James Bury, I had no inclination of the confident, poised, conscientious young man he would become. Over the course of teaching James, I watched him grow into himself and listened as he found his voice. It is through James's strong work ethic and dedication to his pursuit of self-improvement and self-realization that he stood before you tonight, so accomplished and so prepared to take on the world. And one thing James has been counted on here for at Thales is that we have looked to him as a leader. And when leaders emerge, we must question why they wish to lead. Some leaders take the reins purely because they crave power and they wish to wield it. And some lead because they can't or won't follow. James, however, has led at Thales Academy because he possesses those characteristics we should admire most in leaders: vision and humility. Whether through JCL or student council, or simply in the confines of classroom walls, James has had a desire and dream to make this school what he envisioned and dreamed it to be, for himself, and for his classmates, and for future generations of Thales Academy. A good leader understands the burden and responsibility of leadership. A good leader listens. And James understands, and James listens. President John Quincy Adams once said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." I have no doubt that James will be a leader of tomorrow, and where he leads, I'm sure many will follow, and they in turn will become more. And I, for one, am very excited to see what more James himself can become. James Bury, would you please come up and accept your Thales of Miletus First Principal Award? When I first walked into my classroom 6 years ago and met Michael Bono, my first impression that he was quiet and a bit shy. And after getting to know him over the years, I wish to revise that initial assessment. He's not quiet, he's contemplative. Nor is he shy, he's careful with his words. When he speaks, he says exactly what he means to say. There are people that think as they speak, rather than before, and oftentimes much less after. Michael Bono is not one of those people. He speaks with wisdom and gravitas. When he speaks, people can't help but listen. As his teacher, I'm constantly impressed at how Michael says that what we all wish we were thinking. And Michael arrives at conclusions like they're waypoints on an academic journey of epic proportions that only he knows that he's on, and he's just getting started. The acquirement and understanding of true knowledge, not just mere information, is a lot like finding our way in the dark. And the more we learn, and the greater ability we have to see what others cannot, the more light we are able to shine on that dark place. And the more it reveals itself to us, and the more we become aware of its boundless expanse. Whereas most of us enter into that darkness initially with the most meager illumination, a flickering match head, Michael's intellectual promise fills a space like a floodlight. I have watched Michael come out of a shell and emerge as a true scholar. And being but only the smallest part of that has been one of the great many rewards of my time as an educator. Michael, great things await you in the academic journey that stretches before you. Continue to shine your light in the darkness. Michael Bono, please come up and accept your Thales of Miletus First Principal Award. Finally, Evan Gales. I had the pleasure of traveling internationally with Evan. During track out this spring, we went, along with my wife, a beautiful biology teacher at Franklin Academy, and a small accompaniment of her students to Quito, Ecuador, and the Galapagos Islands. And the trip was an epiphany. It was everything you would imagine it to be: giant tortoises, waterfalls, pristine beaches, blue lagoons, volcanoes. It's an ecological Eden. I will treasure the experience and remember it for the rest of my life, and Evan Gales will be a fixture in that memory. And not just because he hurt his foot, and he and I had to seek out a hospital on a remote island after snorkeling, but because of his ever-present humor, curiosity, maturity, and sense of adventure. He was an ambassador for both his school and his country. He was constantly asking the guides astute questions and listening intently to their answers, and I could see in Evan's eyes and hear in his voice he was witnessing just how big the world truly is. And I think he was realizing that he wants to do great things in it. One of my favorite things about Evan is his incurable sense of humor. He has a penchant for puns and witticisms. And when we saw in the wild our first giant tortoise, a massive, magnificent creature that neither your imagination nor your expectations could prepare you for, he casually remarked, as the master of understatement, "Okay, I've seen one, we can go home now." It is this sense of understated awe and appreciation hidden behind the offhand retort that belies Evan's complex, mature understanding of the world. He approaches every facet of his life with the same level of empathy and whimsy, deference and reverence. In other words, he has an old soul. And it is a soul that has been a pleasure to teach and to coach and to travel with. And I wish him fair winds and following seas on all of his future adventures. Evan Gales, please come up and accept your Thales of Miletus First Principal Award. And there you have it. They are carving out a legacy this evening before our very eyes. They are leaving their own deep, indelible footprint in the moon dust. Going forth, the Thales of Miletus First Principal Award will be a tradition here at Thales Academy. Each year, 3 graduating students whom we believe best represent the entirety of the Thales outcomes will find themselves to be the recipients of this award. This number will stand at 3. In honor of this noteworthy first graduating class. This small yet stellar group of young men seated before you cast a long shadow, and lucky are those that seize the opportunity to walk in it. When these graduates walk out of this academy this evening, they will sadly no longer be our students. We'll have to call them something different. High school graduates, college undergraduates, citizens, men, friends. J.R.R. Tolkien once wrote in The Fellowship of the Ring that it's a dangerous business going out your front door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to. Though I have great confidence that Evan, Michael, and James will keep their feet, and their heads, and their hearts. and we will be the ones amazed and awe of where they end up. So a night of firsts, and hopefully you guys will be the first to come back and visit. Our door will always be open to you, and the torch will always be burning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hartzell. It's a pleasure, as always, isn't it? It is now my honor to welcome to the stage the class of 2016 valedictorian and the Chairman's Scholarship recipient, Michael Austin Bono.
Good evening. I'd first like to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. It means so much to have had your support as we have gone through high school and as we prepare to go off to college. As a kid, I always used to imagine my high school graduation. I hoped to be a little bit taller, and I definitely didn't expect to be able to count the number of people in my graduating class on one hand, with 2 fingers to spare. This definitely isn't an ordinary graduation, but then again, my experience at Thales has always been anything but ordinary. My time at Thales began almost 7 years ago. I was in 6th grade, probably a foot shorter than I am right now. I walked into class on my first day, and the teacher sat me down next to a random student in the class of 22, this strange, awkwardly tall kid named James Burry. Little did I know that nearly 7 years later, this strange tall kid would be one of two other people in my graduating class, not to mention a lifelong friend. The following year, Evan joined Thales. At the time, I just thought of him as the new kid in the class and a new friend. I never expected to one day walk across the stage and receive our diplomas together. Over the past 6 and 7 years, the 3 of us have gotten very close and shared many fond memories with each other. We've traveled halfway across the country to compete in JCL competitions. We've performed on local game shows as a team, and we've starred in drama productions here at school. We've been leaders and founders of clubs like Student Council, National Honor Society, Quiz Bowl, and the Junior Classical League. We've been part of the first ever Thales Academy graduating class, and while this was a great honor, it was a huge responsibility. We were required to set the precedent for classes to come, to be, as James put it, the guinea pigs being put through boot camp. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't always fun, but it was worth it, and I believe the 3 of us have done a great job together. As we prepare to go off to college, it is important to thank the people who made us who we are today, who guided us through our time at Thales, who continued to show us the way as we become adults, and who always supported and believed in us. Those people are our teachers at Thales, and the rest of the staff too, and our parents, and our grandparents, and our siblings, our aunts, uncles, and cousins, our friends, and even our friends' parents. Anyone and everyone who has always supported us and pushed us to work harder and achieve more. You are the reason that I can stand up on this stage now. At any point in the past 7 years, I could have stopped. After the first failed assignment, after the hours and hours and hours of homework, after the 38-page poetry journal, Miss Knipe, that I admit I did in 18 hours the weekend before it was due, after taking 8 grueling AP courses, after the first all-nighter spent working on the senior thesis, after the second all-nighter spent working on the senior thesis, after all of the other all-nighters I pulled. There were plenty of times over the years that I could have simply given up, but I didn't. I always had a friend, or a family member, or a teacher looking out for me, encouraging me, and believing in me. These people have been invaluable, and I cannot express how truly grateful I am. Miss Edwards in particular has always been there for me and my classmates anytime we've needed her. Since she joined Thales in my 8th grade year, she has always been working to help us succeed, whether we know it or not. During the college application process, Mrs. Edwards spent hours working with me, helping me refine my essays and feel confident about my answers. I remember one time that both James and I were in her office working on applications, and we both had severe cases of writer's block. So, Mrs. Edwards decided to play some music to help inspire us. What better song to help us, she must have thought, than Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train. Nevertheless, it worked. For whatever reason, Miss Edwards' love for 80s heavy metal helped both me and James finish our applications. From now on, whenever I hear that song, I will think of two things: the horrors of college applications, but also the gratitude I have for Mrs. Edwards and her commitment to helping me succeed. I'd also like to thank a teacher who has always brought creativity and fun into the classroom and melded them with history and literature, and who can also spit rhymes like nobody's business. I've had Mr. Hartzell as a teacher since 7th grade, and in these 6 years, he's taught me so much more than what was on the syllabus. Sure, I could tell you where Ernest Hemingway was born and where he died, and discuss the satire in Sophocles' comedies. But Mr. Hartzell imparted to me something much more important: a love for reading and interacting with literature. He has always encouraged me to move beyond the text, whether it's writing raps about the characters in a novel or turning American classics into video games. These lessons are important, and I will not soon forget them. I could drone on for hours and hours reminiscing about all the memories I've had at Thales and the impact that the people here have had on me, but I'll try to keep it short. So here goes. Mr. Johnston, you've been a great teacher on and off the soccer field. Thank you for everything that you've taught me. Playing varsity soccer with our team will always be a cherished memory, even if you never let me live down the first goal I scored. Mr. Herring, thank you for always encouraging me to think freely and deeply about life. I'm sorry I read too much existentialism. Dr. Church, I may not remember very much about physics next year, but the life lessons you have taught me have been indispensable. Thank you. Mrs. Judy, you have taught me so much math over the past 4 years. Thank you for always challenging me and showing me that with hard work, lots and lots and lots of hard work, great things are possible. Ms. Van Cleek, you have always been incredibly helpful and supportive during my time at Thales. Thank you for all you've done for me, such as encouraging me to join drama club and helping me manage my workload. However, I'm still not sorry that I stole your Thin Mints, and the Roman Rapids incident can never be forgiven. Mr. Rule, thanks for always cracking jokes and being a great teacher. I've enjoyed working with you in student council and scrimmaging on the soccer field. Ms. Beauchesne, thank you for always being supportive and helping me keep track of the finances in student council. Ms. Snyder, thank you so much for your leadership and crew and all of your help with my senior thesis. I definitely would not have been able to do it without you. Ms. Thacker, thank you for all the fun we've had in Latin this year, and thanks for taking us to Bojangles. Ms. Knipe, thank you for encouraging me to try things I initially would not have. Your guidance and teachings have helped me develop and prepare for the future in so many ways. To all the other teachers that never officially taught me, thank you too. Even if I wasn't your student, you were always there to help me and constantly provided support. For that, I am grateful. Last, but definitely not least, I would like to give a huge thank you to Mr. Luddy. Because of your generosity and your vision for Thales Academy, I have been able to meet so many close friends and to learn and grow so much. You have given me an amazing education that will steer me towards success for the rest of my life. UNC-Chapel Hill will provide the three of us with so many opportunities that are so different from what we experienced here at Thales, starting with the fact that their class size is a bit larger than 3. However, I have no doubt that as James, Evan, and I begin our college studies, we will have been more than prepared by our time here at Thales. My experience here has been so formational. While I have developed my identity, my beliefs, and my values here, I have also made so many close friends and so many memories. Thales Academy has made a lasting impact on me that I will remember and cherish forever. But now, my time here is up. I have done all I can do at Thales. The future of this school rests in your hands, students, and I'm not just talking to the class of 2017. I'm talking to the classes of 2018, too, and 2019 and 2020, and each and every class after them. I am confident that you will do amazing things here, and I could not wish for more capable hands to lead the school in. Even after we leave, though, our experience at Thales will not be forgotten. At UNC, we may be Tar Heel tough, but we will always be Centurion strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. It is now my honor to present to you, Dr. Hall, the candidates for graduation at Thales Academy, Rollsville for this school year, 2015-2016, composed of 3 incredibly gifted and exemplary young men. I hereby ask you to certify the completion of the graduation requirements by these graduates and accept Michael, James, and Evan as the class of 2016 and the first graduating class of Thales Academy.
As Director of Academics, after careful scrutiny of the requirements for graduation per the Board of Directors, I found that you have all completed the requirements for graduation, and by the authority vested in me as Director of Academics, I now accept this class as the class of 2016 and the first graduating class of Thales Academy. Thank you. Congratulations.
Now, please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, the founder of our academy, and the chairman of the board, Mr. Robert Luddy.
Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to the first graduation of the Thales Academy. Dr. Hall, Mrs. Melissa Edwards, our teaching team and staff, you families, and particularly you parents. This is a very joyous occasion. Graduating from Thales is a significant achievement, as you have iterated here tonight. I salute each one of you and your parents, and I would refer to your parents as early adapters, entrepreneurs of a sort that are willing to take a risk for a better outcome. Your persistence and tenacity at staying through graduation will serve you well in life, because every undertaking in life always takes longer and is more challenging than we initially anticipated. And the winners are those who can stay with it over a long period of time. Michael Novak is a well-known intellectual teacher, writer, and he attended a classical school in Indiana near Notre Dame. And recently I was talking to him, and one of the things that Michael said was, the classic curriculum develops the best thinkers. And that's essentially the theme of our school. So you gentlemen are thinkers, you're off to a great start, and you're going to have an amazing life. So I'm going to talk about the future as our focus. How many here know what the greatest resources are in the world? Is it diamonds, oil, maybe gold? Well, according to the late Julian Simon, economist, who wrote a book called The Ultimate Resource, it's the human mind. And very often we tend to forget this. You graduating seniors have not forgotten it. You've learned it at a very young age. And you began to develop your minds to a very high level, and I salute and congratulate that. It's going to serve you well throughout your lifetimes. Adam Smith talked about this also as an economic concept. If you want to change the world, and if you want to serve the world, you have to develop yourself first to the highest potential. And that gives you the skills and the know-how to help make enormous contributions in the world. BMW has a factory down in South Carolina. Many of you probably know that, but they also have a driving school. And one of the things they tell the students at the driving school is that about half the drivers get into accidents because they don't look far ahead. So one of the things they teach them in the driving school is to look far ahead, because in 1, 2, 3, 5 seconds, something in front of you, if you're not looking at it, is going to impact your driving, and that something might be an accident. So think about that as an analogy for life. If you can look far ahead, you're going to be able to make better decisions than if you're only looking very near term. And that's hard to do, and it takes time to develop. but the long view is really important in terms of self-development and good decision making. Warren Buffett, the famed billionaire that many of you have heard of, tells his employees this: we can afford to lose money, lots of money. We cannot afford to lose 1 ounce of our reputation as a company. That is very sound advice. And very often we think of business people as maybe in disparaging ways, but profits only flow from quality. And that's why he stresses this idea of reputation is so important, because we don't buy from people who are not reputable. So I urge you to stay engaged, go deep, continue to learn, and begin to develop your aspirations in life. I interview many college students. We hire a lot of engineers and various college students, and I always ask them the question, tell me about your aspirations in life. And most of them will say, well, right now I'm just worried about getting a job. And I'll say to them, well, that's fine, that's good, that's what you should be, but tell me about your aspirations. And most of them have not thought about it after they've graduated from college. So I'm going to charge you young men with thinking about your aspirations in life and begin to develop them over time, and they'll change, but that's going to be your road mark of how you make decisions. And your judgment is going to be critical to your long-term success in life. And at times it's going to be tested. As soon as you get into college, the first tests will begin. My mother had often told us as youngsters that every problem has a solution, and you have the capability to solve those problems. Sometimes they're very challenging. Sometimes they take a long time to solve. But it's good to know that you have those capabilities, and it gives you a more optimistic view of the future. The 21st century will be more competitive than the 20th century. And some of us might say, well, this world competition, maybe it's not a good thing. I'm going to suggest that it's actually a very good thing. Because the days of average is over, a book written by Tyler Cowen, where you could get by not changing, where things stay the same over a long period of time, sometimes cause us to be intellectually lazy. The modern world is going to move fast, change is going to come quickly, so you're going to have to be flexible, and you're going to have to adapt every day. That's a key part of the entrepreneurial world, is essentially relooking at the world every day based on new information. You know, we're often told that knowledge is power, and knowledge is important, and that's why you go to school, and that's why you do your academics. But knowledge without great thinking skills is not power. It's not even useful. There's a gentleman named Jack Canfield who wrote The Success Principles, and he gives you a simple formula for success in life. He calls it the event, which is what goes on in the outside world. You can't control it. The response, how you think and how you respond to the world, will equal the outcome. And what it means is that your correct response to what goes on in the world allows you to have a great outcome. And it also allows you to know that you have this human mind, this great brain that can solve problems and have a self-directed life. Viktor Frankl was a psychologist in Austria. 1938, when the Germans were coming in, he was serving his patients. And he didn't want to leave Austria knowing that he's Jewish, knowing that's going to be a problem, because he wanted to serve his patients. Now that to me is extraordinary courage. Most of us in our lifetime will never be called on to do something like that. And Frankl ended up in the concentration camp, but he figured out how to survive under the worst conditions almost known to man, and he lived 50 years later. And he taught us some very unique things. Every individual is uniquely important to the world. And God gave you a purpose in the world, and no one else can fulfill that purpose. If you think of it in very simple terms, nobody else can be the brother, the sister, the mother, the dad, the uncle. And if they're not there, there's a huge vacuum in the world. And nobody can replace your talents. So how do you develop those talents to their highest potential? You learn to be a great thinker. That's the essence of the Thales Academy. Israel Kirzner was a student of Ludwig von Mises, great economist at NYU in New York back in the 40s, still alive today. And Kirzner tends to be a little bit esoteric. So if you were reading his book, you probably struggle a little bit with it. But then on the flip side, he gets very simple. And he says the essence of thinking, of entrepreneurial thinking, is alertness. Because alertness is the precursor to thinking. We make observations. We look for opportunities. We take in new information. In our company, we're taking in new information, making observations in real time every single day. And that's exciting to people who like it. Some people don't like it. They think it's dreadful. But for those who engage in it, it changes our thinking every single day. Thinking's evolving. You're looking at new opportunities that you didn't think about before. I was reading a book over the weekend, and the author said, as an adult, you might have to spend more time unlearning things that you learned wrong somehow and relearning things that are absolutely right. So we learn some things over time, or we have some impressions, and some of that can be that our conventional wisdom is wrong. One of my mentors said that conventional wisdom is either wrong or it's going to be wrong. And in a very dynamic world, we can't rely on the conventional wisdom today for the future. So Kirzner gets this down along with Mises. We're alert, we take in knowledge, we think, we process, and then we act. That's the key to success in the future. Every day we need a fresh perspective on life, which is why we need to keep studying, keep learning, taking in new information, listening to opinions that are very contrary to what we believe. In order to effect that change, you will need tremendous courage. Maybe not as much courage as Frankel, but you will need courage in this world to make changes and to live a proper life. Jeff Bezos this week said that anybody engaged in change, in innovation, in new ideas, you should fully expect major opposition. Don't expect a cheering crowd. It's the nature of people. They prefer the status quo. They prefer what's comfortable to them. But if you think of America over 200 years, thousands and millions of Americans made this the greatest country in the history of the world because they weren't afraid to change. They were courageous people, extraordinarily courageous. As you develop yourself to your fullest potential, you will be able to serve the world. And serving the world will give you the greatest satisfaction in life. But remember, you have to develop yourself to your absolute fullest potential. And remember, this human mind that you own, that you control, is the greatest resource on the earth. And if you take it to fruition, you're going to be in control of your life. You're going to have an amazing life far beyond what you can anticipate. I can tell you that when I founded Thales, I didn't anticipate we have 3 amazing grads like we have here tonight. I could not have anticipated it. But what I did know, if you start down a good path and you keep working on it, the results will be far better than you anticipated. So for my life, it turned out far better than I would have anticipated when I sat in your seat many, many years ago. And for your lives, it'll be the same thing if you do the right thing. Always be grateful for where you're at a point in time. Gratitude is a very key to happiness. Think about every day and be thankful for where you're at, knowing that you're striving always to go to a better place, always to develop your mind to a higher level. So in closing, I say seize the future every day. Every day is an opportunity to improve, to be a new person, to bring new thoughts to the table that nobody ever thought before. But remember, to do that, you must be alert. You must pay attention. Did you ever hear in the government they didn't connect the dots? It's because they're not paying attention, because they're not alert, because they don't care about the outcome. If you care deeply and you're alert, you're going to amaze yourself, even as you move into your college career. Find your unique purpose in life. And that will take your whole lifetime because it'll keep opening up. Your mind expands, new opportunities, new experiences, You'll get better every single day. But remember, it will take courage. And courage is a hard thing. It needs to be developed every day. Lack of courage is what my dad always told us is what he called no guts. He got right down to the basics. We know the right thing to do, and we don't do it. We can come up all kinds of lame reasons why we didn't do it. So when you know you're right, you must be courageous, or you will disappoint yourself more than anyone else. So meet the challenges of life with a great attitude every day. And it's not hard to have a good attitude. Once you get the habit of it, once you know, every day is a great attitude. It doesn't matter what other people do. It matters what you do. That's what you can control. And knowing that and practicing some of these ideas that I presented to you and what you've learned here at Thales, you're going to amaze yourself, you're going to amaze your parents, and you're going to make enormous contributions to the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Luddy. Class of 2016, now is the moment you've all been waiting for. The moment you've all worked so hard for. It is time to present your diplomas. Graduates, please rise and come to the stage when I call your name. And families, feel free to cheer. Michael Austin Bono. James Edward Burry III. And finally, Evan Richard Gales. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the class of 2016. Gentlemen, you may turn your tassels. Graduates, you may be seated. Faculty, please rise. Before we conclude this graduation ceremony, I'd like to take a moment on behalf of the faculty to express our gratitude for the faith and trust you have placed in us, the teachers and Thales. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Bono, Mr. and Mrs. Burry, Mr. and Ms. Gales, for allowing us to be a part of your son's education. These young men have motivated us with their strong work ethic. They've challenged us with their astute problem solving and their critical thinking abilities, and they've inspired us with their dreams and aspirations to change the world. Gandhi is attributed with saying, "If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change." As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him. We need not wait to see what others will do. To that end, it is with gratitude and pride that I announce the inaugural Be the Change Rolesville Faculty Scholarship. Each year, the faculty will contribute to the Be the Change Scholarship, and 3 worthy recipients will receive the scholarship. Because the first graduating class consisted of 3 spectacular graduates, there will always be 3 recipients. I proudly announce that our first ever recipients and the inspiration behind the creation of this scholarship are Michael, James, and Evan. Graduates, please come up and accept your $600 scholarship. Graduates, you will also find in your bags a gift from the Board of Directors for being our very brave Thales Trailblazers in our first graduating class. They have gifted you an iPad Pro, a keyboard, a pencil, and a Carolina blue cover so that you are well prepared to tackle the academic challenges head-on and in style at the University of North Carolina. Faculty, you may be seated. Steve Jobs once said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. And don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice. And most importantly, have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary." So to that end, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall softly upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Graduates and marshals, please rise. Faculty and guests, please rise and join me one final time in congratulating the Thales Academy Rolesville class of 2016. Marshals, lead our graduates out. Faculty, you are dismissed. Keep going.